love this picture. Oh, and this one has my E on it.
Yes, I fixed that for you. All right. We're going to go with, I think it's working. All right. Welcome back to the Manufacturing Alliance podcast. As always, I'm your host, Tony Demakis. And, usually, always, not usually, every day I work at Alliance Specialties and laser sales. And, typically we work in manufacturing for plastics and, mold repair and maintenance and cell laser welding and laser engraving equipment. But on the rare occasion that I get to go and do something different, I wind up at the JCK Jewelry Show. And when I'm there, I have the opportunity to meet my new friend, Elle Hill. And, you want to talk about a breath of fresh air. You get a bunch of stagnant, stuffy people at a trade show, because that's sometimes what it is. And then you get to meet Elle. So Elle, I'm not even going to try and tell everybody what you do. I would rather you tell people what you do and introduce yourself and tell them where you are in your home library with your beautiful flowers and all your other stuff.
I know, this is my office. This is actually my office. I actually was looking at a video on YouTube that said, oh, you can get a Zoom suit that's like cut off here that you just put on over your t-shirt when you have to. And they said, we even have a pretentious Zoom backdrop. And I swear to God, it was like my bookshelves, But I'm Elle Hill. I'm a fine jewelry launch and growth expert. And I've been in fine jewelry for 25 years. I started out with some of the big mass market manufacturers overseeing, sales to the major retailers. I moved to China, learned Mandarin, wandered around. Once I learned how to say, what's your best-selling color and clarity for diamonds, ended up in Hong. Yeah, I had a couple of babies before I went there, and then I moved to Hong Kong. Had a couple more babies while I was running a DTC site holders business, and then launched my own startup, fine jewelry, online only fine jewelry 10 years ago, which was like, oh, who could do? No one will buy jewelry online.
Crazy thing, right?
Yeah, and we won a couple awards. We won a couple of awards for that, Innovator of the Year, E-Tailer.
Awesome.
Yeah. And we IPO'd it in under 5 years.
That's awesome.
And that was like, blood, sweat, and tears. And it happened the same year as my husband said, I always said to my husband, he's a writer. He writes novels. 14 of them here are his. And he said, we always said we were going to move back home once our oldest is going to go to high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was the same year. So like I moved a family of 6 from Hong Kong to, the fields of Northern England while IPOing a company. And I was the spearhead going from San Francisco to Sydney to, Singapore, pitching VCs. And that was 5 years ago. And so by the time I got here, I just lay like a star shape on my living room floor. But then the phone started ringing, because I think IPOing a luxury business, a jewelry business, not simple. And it was a $10 million IPO, which is not a big IPO. And those ones are harder because you're taking a higher percentage of their money, right? So I was done. I was like, I'm going to go get a big, fat, sassy job at like Chanel or Gucci, where they don't really know much about jewelry, but they know they want to be in it because of the margins. And my husband was like, you can't work for someone else again. You can't. But then the phone started ringing because people were like, if you can do what you did,
right,
you know how to help us, So then I started helping some of the largest businesses in our industry, like 500 million plus businesses. And like just on an ad hoc it was like an accidental business.
Right.
It was.
I think those are the best kind.
It was crazy. I was like, oh, it wasn't until like 2-3 months in, my husband was like, I think this is your new business. I thought I was just like doing a couple projects,
Yeah.
Really like 4 months in, I called up my old North American manager for my startup company, the one that I brought public. And I was like, okay, this is getting too big for me alone, and that was it. That was that. And the rest is history,
And now you're in high demand all over the place.
Well, now I'm lucky enough that our client base is bifurcated. So we have enough big businesses that have like, put together the strategy for penetrating China, or put together, overhaul our merchandising, our architecture, so they
Yeah.
have big projects, which gives us the other part of our client base, which is small to medium enterprises and pre-revenue startups.
Okay.
Which if I could only do that, that would be great. But this is a really good way to, balance out the business, keep the tent poles holding up the tent while we
Yep.
really help, because we've been through it. And because I brought Pamela Bernstein Gula on board.
She's watching, by the way. She says
Oh,
hello.
is she watching? Hi,
Yeah.
Pammy.
She's on YouTube. She's saying hello to us.
Oh, she's amazing, man.
Yeah.
And because
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here, I wouldn't be doing it. I wouldn't do it without her.
Really?
She's like my other lung. Yeah, yeah. And I'm a little, big, we were saying, and Pam's
Yeah.
like, yeah, she's right there, So it's yin and yang, So that's me. There, I did it in like under a few minutes, right?
Yeah, that was 5 minutes ish. That's not bad. That's not
For
bad.
25 years, 4 kids,
You summed it up really nicely. I think you did a good job with that.
Thank you.
And what I love is the new stuff that you've been putting on LinkedIn, because I think it not only applies to jewelry, right? Because that's a small market, that's a niche market, right? But the advice that you give people transcends every industry. Especially like the last one you said, I never even thought of it when you were saying to look at the camera instead of the screen.
Oh yeah.
I mean, brilliant.
Isn't that funny? I mean, yeah, okay. I'm really enjoying those things on LinkedIn, I have to say. Especially now, it's like the virtual trade show of my life, you know what I mean? And it's a huge way to connect. But you're right, I don't just talk about, what I do by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
Because I really think, here's what I think. I think people put business in a box. And they're like, this is a business book, or this is a business LinkedIn, or this is a, and businesses don't do business with businesses. People do business with people,
Yes, 100% agree with you.
Right. So like, and the things I talk about, in addition to strategy and basics and how often should you post, or what should you think about for digital marketing, or, whatever, I talk about like the stuff, that God is in the details, and I say a lot of the same things over and over again, because I also realize that, no matter who you are, you're all 5,500 people aren't getting every single post that I put out there.
Absolutely.
So I try and like just keep to one idea, and I don't do it unless something occurred to me. But you can probably tell, like, stuff occurs to me.
Well,
so
and
whip it out,
It's incredibly authentic too, because, it's what you're thinking at that time, right? It's one thing to go through and, get your binder and schedule, on Monday, I'm going to talk about this. On Tuesday, I'm going to talk about this. On Wednesday, I'm going to talk about that. But on Tuesday, if you wake up and something strikes you, you go outside and you get this like moment, you don't want to be stuck to that Tuesday talk.
Right.
I think that it's awesome to use those real life experiences to motivate you on what you want to share with people. Something that you said that you said that God is in the details, and most people say the devil's in the details.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe that's a difference from America to England. And I like God is in the details better, because of course he is.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm thinking back to, like, when this started, the video thing started.
Yeah.
I mean, all of my life, I've always made a joke that, I'm much more attractive in photographs than I am in person. I'm very, very good on video. I've always made this joke, because people would say, oh, that's a great picture of you. But some people have good picture faces or whatever.
Sure.
And I would always say, yeah, I love pictures. Like, most people are like, oh, don't take my picture. And I'd be like, please, it's going to look great, because that's a reality of me, I think. But so when I had this business, and I've been focusing on only this since we moved back 5 years ago. It started out, I'd be updating my clients on what we were doing, and everybody wasn't doing this. This is
Right,
so
right,
fresh right now, the
right.
video calls, right? Everybody wasn't doing this, and I wasn't doing it either, even though like Skype was there, but wasn't Skype annoying? It would always break down. And so,
Yep.
I didn't do it. Sorry, Skype people. Um,
I mean, you're right. When you're right, you're right. It was not ideal.
but it wasn't ideal. So I just updated people on the telephone, but because of my enthusiasm, shall we say, after I would go and have a meeting for people on people's behalf, because for my clients, I joined the team, you know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
Or Pamela joins the team, and
right.
when we do this, it's not like, here's what we like roll up our sleeves and we're like, right. So I helm a lot of meetings for them. So when I would walk out of the meetings, I'd be like, I can't type this. And I'd give them an update like that. I still have the
Yes.
first one that I did. And it was Pamela who said to me, Elle, why don't you share some of your thoughts on LinkedIn on videos like that? And I really honestly was like, nobody wants to see that.
Yeah.
I was not, but now the feedback that I get is so amazing. And the followers as they're growing, and like you, we met a year ago. We probably would never have met again. We
No.
probably never have talked again.
Yeah.
I love following you. I love your posts. You, like me, don't just talk about the business, because
Right.
being good at the business isn't just the business.
No.
Yes, you have to know that stuff, but when you're great at the business, it's because you're a human being, like
Yes.
really listening and really focused on the other human being that you're trying to figure out, can I help them solve a problem or not?
Right. I was we were trying to find sales training for our team, our sales team, and I was looking at two different versions. I was looking at Dale Carnegie,
Yep.
and I was looking at Grant Cardone.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell this story. I mean, nobody's gonna watch it anyways, but if you watch it and you have problems with it, I'm gonna say we can have a discussion on that.
Right.
So I'd always heard about how great Dale Carnegie was. Like, it's the foundation of sales training.
Okay.
And then Grant Cardone is like the new in your face bulldog kind of sales mentality. And so the Grant Cardone guy calls me back, and I had just gotten done with, it was on a Saturday. I had just got home from the gym. I was trying to make myself and the kids lunch, and I'm on the phone with him, and he's going, "Hi, this is so-and-so from Grant Cardone. You came onto our site, and only a few people do that. Either you're a business owner or you're this or you're that. What are you?" And I was like, "Okay, I'm a business owner. Yeah, I went on the site. I want to see what it's all about." And they said, "Okay, well, we want to talk to you about this, this, and this." And I said, "Honestly, this is not a good time right now. I just got home. I'm trying to make lunch. I'm interested. I reached out to you. Send me an email with some times, and I'll be happy to call you back. I am interested." "Well, Tony, I just want like 15 minutes of your time. And I just want to go over a couple things with you real quick. Is that going to be okay?" And I said, "No, I just told you I don't have time. I'm trying to make my kids lunch. Send me an email. I will get back to you. Let me know how much this is going to cost me. I'm interested. I don't
Right.
need the sales pitch. I've done my homework." "Well, I just want to schedule a date. This will only take like 15 minutes. When would be good?" And I said, "You know what? Do me a favor. Don't call me.
Ooh,
Um,
ooh.
I am not interested anymore. I was interested, but the way that you're treating me as your prospective customer, and you're not listening to me, and you're not taking my feelings and my needs into consideration right now,
And you're in
I would
sales.
be extremely pissed off if I knew any of my salespeople acted this way." And I'm assuming you took Grant Cardone's class because you're a Grant Cardone salesperson.
Yeah.
I don't want my sales team acting that way at all. So I
Yeah.
am no longer interested. And
Wow.
then Dale Carnegie was on the flip side, and
Right.
they did everything that they could to make it a pleasurable experience. I said, "We're bringing like 6 people to the class. Is there anything that you can do for us?" And they said, "Oh, absolutely. We appreciate you guys doing that. We'll work on the pricing with you. Would it be beneficial if we had a pricing structure to help you pay this out over long term?"
Wow.
And this was right before COVID. And they said, "What we're going to do for you is, because it was supposed to be an in-person class, we're going to give you a free online class. And then at a later date, we're going to take that. We're going to let you take another in-person class so you get the full benefit."
Hmm.
They did everything and anything to make me feel comfortable. And that's listening to the person, right?
Yeah.
That's what I want. I want to be transparent and honest. I don't want it to be, I hate salespeople. And as a salesperson, it hurts to say that. But
Yeah.
if I call you and I'm like, hey, Elle, I got this really thing for you. Elle, this is important. You need to listen. Elle, when can I call you? Like, nobody does that.
No, no,
I
no.
know my name. I don't need to hear it 15 times. Don't tell me my name. I know it. And people say, oh, it's people's favorite word is their name. It's not.
Well,
For me, it's not. Maybe
yeah,
it is for you. I don't know.
I might be. I always say like hold a mirror up to people because it's their favorite thing to look at. But
Yeah.
not true. It's not true for everyone. You're right.
Yeah.
It's not true for
And
everyone.
it's just a dead giveaway to me that somebody's trying to sell me. And I think that's why I hate it, because I know that's a strategy.
Do you hate it, Tony? Tony, do you hate it, Tony? Tony?
I do. It's like, because you get that call and they start right away and you're like, okay, that's what this is. You're not interested in what I have to
So
say.
I have one that you probably haven't experienced, which is,
Okay.
and I'm constantly looking to learn, right? I'm constantly looking to never be the smartest person in the room. I'm constantly looking to play tennis with the Federers and the Serenas of the world.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
totally.
I keep my ears out. I talk to people. I take every call, you know what I mean? And I had this guy that I was following and I thought he was really great. And I think he was a business coach type of thing. And I'm always rooting for them because I'm
Yeah,
like, if this person makes me feel like I might be able to learn something from them, it's going to be amazing. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
I root for them. I've like in my life, I think there's one that I actually ended up continuing to talk to, and I'll tell you that story. But this guy, I called it, I filled out the whole form, and I'm like,
Yep.
okay, I'm a digital marketer as well as a business strategist. So I'm like, okay, this guy's got a clear pipeline that he's filling. I had to tell him like, what's my top line revenue? How many people do I, have working for me? I'm like, okay, let's go. Cause I like to see
Yep.
people's process, right? So, okay. And I go right down the line to, I schedule a phone call. It's not with the gentleman. It's with another guy. So he's got a team. And I'm like, okay,
Okay.
yeah, this
Yeah.
is standard kind of setup. And I talked through the whole thing with him. And I said, and we finally get to how much it is. And I said, wow, that's like the size of one client. And this was like 4 years ago, right? And I said, so I'll come back to you when I have like, 6 or 7 clients, and I feel like that's an easy swing for me.
Yep.
He said, oh, but that price is only on during this phone call. After this phone call, it goes up, right, by like 40% or something. And I was like, okay, well, I need time to think about it. So if I'm out of the loop, I'm out of the, I don't pull the rope, And he said, well, listen, what could make it possible? Kind of like could we, and I said, no, we couldn't, that wouldn't work, splitting it up, And he said, well, does your husband have some money he could loan you? And I was like, I am the breadwinner for a family of 7. 4 kids, 2 dogs, 1 mother. No, 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 no. And my husband's who's an artist and an amazing author, but like I'm driving the truck here.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that was just it, and it was a shame.
I
And it's
can't
not
imagine that went well.
no. And so there's a whole nother world of disrespect that you can experience
Yeah,
on
totally.
side of the fence, but there's also a world of wonderful things that you experience on this side of the fence. So
Yeah. And you know what? Even when that guy was really forceful and everything,
Mhm.
it was a blessing to me because it was a reminder how I do not want to act, how I do not want to come across.
Right,
And
right.
that same company called me yesterday again, and it was the same thing. I actually had to hang up on them because
Oh,
they just kept pushing and pushing. I was like, listen, we're really not interested right now. We're not looking for a sales program.
yeah,
Well, what can we do to make you reconsider that? Nothing. I'm not interested. Okay. Uh, right
yeah,
now I'm good. And they just kept going and I hung up because I don't have time to argue with somebody about that
yeah.
and need to move on.
And here's the other thing, like, listen, listen.
Yes.
That is the first, like, is you're learning nothing if your mouth is moving, right? And how do you know? How did he? I mean, I just spoke. We have a client out in Bangkok, and we were setting up for a huge meeting with a very well known brand. And she said, how do you think we start? And I said, you
Right.
start by asking questions,
Right.
listening. And then we're going to pick up. We've got a plan. We've got a whole presentation plan. We've got our 6-pager. We've got our zappy, one item to focus on per slide, and we're ready to go on our Zoom meeting, but I said, that comes after, and we're going to change tack based on what we hear in the first minutes about, are we actually uniquely positioned to solve a problem for them?
Yes.
And how have their problems changed since we maybe set up the meeting? These
Right.
things. So listen, right?
And you could create that whole presentation based on what you think their issue is.
Yeah. And you might be
you
wrong.
don't know what their issue is.
Yeah.
And you could finish the whole thing and they go, cool, but I don't need your help with that. I got that one under control.
Yeah. And then you're sunk,
Yeah.
So it's really about listening, isn't it?
I think that's the biggest key. My brother, who is in sales, he taught me a long time ago, the fish gets caught by opening its mouth. So sometimes you just have to sit there and you listen.
Can I tell just a short story, which is very
Yeah,
simple?
please.
My husband and I don't have it right here. Oh yeah, I do. Can I grab something?
Yeah, get whatever you want.
Get whatever you want. Super interesting, and I'll see if I can reach this. Watch if I can. Whoa. Oh my gosh! Here I am. I'm back. I made it. Okay.
You did it. You did it.
Let's see if this works, and if I put it in the right angle.
Here, let me zoom in real quick. Hold on.
Not reflecting.
I'm going to
see this picture.
Okay.
I think I got it in a good angle. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me in the middle, and that's my husband. He's not that tall. He's standing on a step. And my best friend, Melissa. So you see, we were deep sea fishing in this.
Yes.
Picture. Sorry to the vegetarians out there.
Yeah.
But
I don't think there's any watching.
So we were deep sea fishing, and we get on the boat. We were in Florida. That was the day we got engaged.
Okay.
And it was 11 days. We had spent 11 days together. That was 18 and a half years ago. And that's another story. But so we get on the boat, and they're like, oh, you should take seasickness pills because it's deep sea fishing. Yeah. And I never get seasickness pills. So I'm like, I'll take them just in case, though, because these guys are like, you really need it. And this one guy on the boat gets on. He was a really little guy, but he was like, hey, I never get it, so I'm not taking it. I'm fine. I don't get it. I'm not taking it. So you can imagine where the story goes. He's the one who made it like a scented trip. And when he was, my husband leaned over to me and he said, God takes the big talkers first. Never forgot that. And God takes the big, that we say it all the time. Whenever you see like that person that's been like, I'm gonna they're going down.
I like that. I'm gonna steal that one. I'm gonna use that, I think, in a lot of my life.
Takes the big talkers first. Yeah. The big doers get to hang around.
Well, you can talk a big game all you want to, right? It doesn't mean anything, Yeah. You can memorize all the right things to do and be able to quote back books or whatever. But if you're not actually performing and doing that action, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true.
You giving advice on LinkedIn all the time about how to do things and being out there and putting yourself out there and being authentic. I loved so much that you sent me the crazy pictures. Because you even said, this is not a side of me that people typically get to see.
No.
But it's fun letting people see that side of what you're doing. Yeah. And it makes it more real for everybody, Yeah. I know you as a polished person. Like your videos are very nice. They're very well done. Your house, I mean, it reminds me of just watching Beauty and the Beast, where, the live version, the house is beautiful. The countryside is beautiful, all these things. And then you're like, use this fun picture. And I'm like, yes, that's real. That's authentic. That's you and your element and doing what you're doing. And I think that's so great for people to see that we are real people.
Yeah.
Nobody's put together 100% of the time.
No way. And honestly,
if you think they are, you're deluded. Like,
absolutely. And there was I said to somebody very recently, like, I started doing things that I would never do before because of this pandemic.
Yes.
And it's the gift out of something that we would never want to happen. But and the way I exemplified it was saying like, I never thought I would see the day when I would post a picture of a loaf of bread on LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn is where you talk about the new CEO at Tiffany's and whether they have the right strategy. LinkedIn is where you do charts and you say the top 10 lists and but you know, you gotta roll with the fact that I think people want to, just like with brands and businesses, people want to see behind the curtain a little.
Yes.
They want to know what's, and people want to vote with their wallets, and because they maybe feel disenfranchised by voting with their ballots, so they want to vote with their wallets about for businesses that do and behave the way that aligns with their morals. So, you know, people could go to McKinsey. They don't have to go to me. I mean, they won't have the deep industry knowledge that we have in fine jewelry, gemstones, and diamonds, but they'll have a lot of talent at business strategy.
Yeah.
But half the reason they come to us is the industry, the deep industry knowledge. But the other half is because they have confidence in me and they believe in me because I am the same everywhere you see me.
Yes.
I don't have a version that I present. And I will go so far as to say that I think I did before. I only showed the graphs on LinkedIn if I ever posted on LinkedIn. And now I'm like, you know what? This is me. And I'm not afraid to be seen. And if it's not for you, you're not my pitch. That's okay.
100% agree with you.
If you want to separate it, if you want to not talk about why is it that you want a bespoke jewelry business instead of an off-the-shelf business, what is it about that speaks to you? Like, if you don't want to go there, I think you're going to fail, and you're probably not my client anyway. If you just want to buy the numbers and say, what do I think is going to win, and make pillars and like icons and colors, and now I have a brand. No. A brand is not a thing, right? It's a series of actions that are consistently reliable and filled with passion and authenticity. So like, I actually live this way.
Yep.
And I believe that like digital marketing is the way that you should behave at a cocktail party. And I constantly tell people, like, go back to that. Don't do anything online you wouldn't do in person. Don't meet someone and say, hi, I sell jewelry. Hi, I'm a business consultant. Like, just don't do it. Most of my clients have known me for 3 months, 6 months, years before they ever hire me. And that's, I thank God I'm so old, because like, I have a nice applicant pool at this point.
Well, Craig Groeschel says it. He says, people would rather follow a leader people don't want to follow a leader who's always right. They want to follow a leader who's always real.
Okay. I like that.
Because you're going to get it wrong.
I do.
But be you, be real, be authentic. That is my number one advice and takeaway. If you're a serious person, be serious. Don't try to be too fun, because you're going to fail. Like,
be you.
I mean, if I'm meeting somebody for the first time and it's not with drinks and it's not this, I can be formal and I can be serious and I can be presentable, but I'm also going to have my personality come through. I'm not afraid of that, because it's what makes me me. It's the only differentiator that I have.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm forgettable.
Yeah.
We do a charity golf outing, and every year it's for some part of the military. And I went to Kohl's, department store, and I found this suit, and it's like stars and stripes jacket and, all this stuff. And I took a picture of it and I sent it to my brother, and he was like, Tony, you can't wear that. You are running a business. You have to be serious. And I was like, I'm going to wear it. And everybody loves it. Now, every time I see people at the trade organizations, they're like, where's the jacket? I'm like, that's special occasions. That's not every day. You'll get spoiled. I can't do that with you. So my friend Rich, who's watching, says, how does persuasion and persistence play a role in your sales efforts?
Me?
Yeah, I'll let you go.
Okay. Persuasion and persistence. I don't know about persuasion.
It's 6 o'clock.
My computer is French, and it's telling me 6 o'clock. It's a French man, my computer. So je parle un petit peu de français. So I think that people love to buy and they hate to be sold. So I don't think persuasion should not be necessary. So persistence, however, should. And persistence, not like, please stay on, Tony, Tony, please stay on, Tony, I need 15 minutes, Tony, Tony, Tony. But persistence, like, okay, 3 weeks has gone by or a month. Like, I love the Kendra Scott business. I will do something for them at some point in my life. And Tom Nolan, if you're watching, CEO of Kendra Scott, I love what they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's something behind the curtain that I don't know about, but I'm just a gal watching a company that pivoted and took risks that I'm sure they're struggling through, but they came out with their numbers ahead right now to projections. And I love that. And that takes a team, and that takes an ethos, and that takes something that trickles right down. And like, and I know maybe one person there, and I sent her a note whenever it occurs to me. I don't have it on some sort of tickler or a CRM, but I send her a note and say, hey, how are you guys doing out there? What's it like? How's the curbside pickup going? I mean, I'm sure she's probably like, why does this person keep sending me a note? But like, because I have these things, if it falls off of my mind, then it's not really meant to be. There are lots of things that I have in calendars to make sure that I remember. I'm an incredibly regimented person. I'm incredibly organized and consistent, but things like that type of persistence, if it's in my mind, and I feel like it's happening at some point, I'll keep going back. I'll keep being present, because I don't want to negotiate with myself. At some point, they may need me, and it might not have been the first 2 times that I touched base with her. So that's, I think, how it plays a part in my, success.
And I'll piggyback off what you said about people like to buy, they don't like to be sold. As far as persuasion goes, the most persuasive thing to me is your energy, not yours specifically, but yes, yours. It's the passion that you have for the product that you have, and how much you care about it. So if you're trying to tell somebody like, this is a great tumbler, it keeps things cold. It's got this little lid that closes. That doesn't do anything for anybody. But if I'm like, dude, I love this thing. I have never put ice in it. It's awesome. And it's always cold and it never spills. That's great. You want me to get you one? I mean, that's not, I mean, it's the same story. It's just the energy level and the passion that I have for that product. I'm not lying to you about it. Both times I said it keeps things cold. It's just how you tell that story. It's not persuasion. It's, I really like this.
Yeah. And if it's rooted in the truth and fact and authenticity,
exactly.
It rings true. Okay, so I put my hand up because I was like,
Elle, you have a question? Go ahead.
Yes, please. The biggest thing Pamela and I do, because we run the show here, right? The biggest thing we do with clients is like, if we're not feeling it, we don't take on someone because we have a quota or because we have a spot. We don't. We have to be like, oh, this is good. This is a good idea, or this is going to be fun, or this is a company I really want to play tennis with them, for the big ones. And for the little ones, it's like, well, that's a good concept. That's a different business model, but the biggest thing we always ask ourselves before we say yes to anyone is, can we help them?
That's so real.
That's my biggest fear, man. My father was the son of a coal miner. My mother was the daughter of a coal miner. That would have been a trick. I'm the first one in my clan.
Not nowadays. Nowadays, it might just fall into.
Maybe not. Hey, whatever. I'm all good. But like I'm the first one to ever go to college, and my coal miner's son father, was always like, you're always replaceable. You are always replaceable. Never forget it. And so I never put myself in a position. Where like I will say to something, you're all good, or when you meet a hurdle that you can't jump, then come back and let's talk again, because I think you got this, let me tell you how I think you got this. Go try that. And then if that still doesn't work, come back,
My father would always say, with a puff of smoke, they replace the Pope. You are replaceable. You know your stuff, but there was a guy, I'm gonna say he used to work here. He was telling my father how he's irreplaceable and he's so good and whatever. And he said, there was a guy, he was as good as you are. You replaced him. Like the next guy will figure it out, right? I mean, that's just kind of how it is. And he wasn't saying it to be a jerk. It's just, it's true. You know, everybody is replaceable to a certain extent, right? That what they're doing is replaceable. Their personality, their energy, who they are, that's not replaceable. And that's why you got to be you. Yes, Elle.
I have another question. No, okay. At the beginning of this thing, you know,
Yeah.
and I want to say this out loud because I think, and I always say and I wish Pam was like here. She could verify everything that I say because I am ready to be wrong all the time. But I think I have a confident cadence of speech. So people are like, oh, she must be right. And I'm like, tell me if this sounds bad. Tell me if you're thinking in the back of your mind, well, that sounds stupid, but she's saying it. So therefore I have to overcompensate for that. Like because of, you know, whatever, the way I speak and the way I've kind of been around the industry for 25 years. And so I do kind of feel like I know my gut. I go with my gut is very good after this amount of experience. It's not fake anymore, you know, and I back it up with data afterwards, but I move right away on the gut. It's 80-20, right? So, but at the beginning of this thing, and I want to say this out loud, I had 4 days where I felt physically nauseous because I, like everyone, and I want to say this out loud because if I get one more person who says, oh, you're fine, I'm sure you're fine, you know, and we're so grateful because we're a helping business and because I've been banging the drum about how half of the world is in real life and half of the world is digital. I've been banging this drum to the jewelry industry for 10 years. I started a whole gosh darn business that was online only to prove my frigging point, you know? So, you know, so I'm blessed and super, super grateful that we are busier now than we've had the 2 biggest months of March and April so far for the past years. Now, and I'm super grateful for that. But when this thing started, my girlfriend who lives in Lake Como called me and, you know, it was before we locked down here. And she told me, you know, heartbreaking stories of loss and people my age and children. And I mean, what happened over there was amazing. And for 4 days, literally physically, I thought, I'm going to throw up. I'm going to throw up. And it was not because it was because of the sadness for the loss of lives and for the people left behind. But it was also that I was going, how's this going to affect me?
Yeah. The unknown.
I didn't know. I was like, and I'm good. My glass is half full. I'm so good at it, but I'm human like anyone else. And I went, I have 7 people depending on me. I have a team of people whose salaries I pay. How I was sick because I saw only for those 4 days really like just how much was out of my control. And slowly during those 4 days, and with the help of my gorgeous Pamela Bernstein Gula, you know, it was like, we got this. We're gonna lean the heck in. And we did. We did like 3 weeks of free strategy sessions. We leaned in like I've never leaned in before and opened up the kimono, you know, like I've never done before.
Totally.
And it resonated, you know, we saw a spike, you know, and thank gosh, because I was scared to go out there and say, I can help you. Right. Because I didn't want to be seen to be asking for someone's money or anything at a time like this.
In a tough time. Yep.
Right. But people want help and people don't want you to abandon them at the moment that you want it. And so I've been communicating that out to businesses too. Let people say no. If they don't need it, they don't need it. And yes, we got creative and we put levels where people could access us, where people never had a hope of accessing us before, because it's the time to do that.
Absolutely.
You know? But I wanted to just say out loud how I was so scared, you know, and I know some people still are.
When we started the lockdown issue here in Illinois, we had the same thing, right? Like we've got 50 people in our company. How are we going to do this? I mean, how is this going to make sense? If the governor of Illinois says we have to shut down, do we have to lay off 50 people? What do we do? I mean, how do you stay open? Fortunately, because a lot of our business is medical and food and beverage, we are deemed essential and able to stay open, which is amazing, right? But there was a huge fear. And for me, I'm a believer. I'm a faith person, believe in Jesus and all that. And what I realized was that I was trying to control it. I was relying on what I can do, and my limitations were holding me back. And what I had to do is realize that I'm not in control, and I have to put my faith and my belief and my strength back to where it should be. And once I do that, it's going to work out. It's going to work out the way it's supposed to work out. May not be the way I want it to work out, but I don't get a say in it. What I want doesn't really matter, because I can only plan this much.
Yeah.
You know, God's going to plan this much.
Yeah.
He knows how it works out. So I just got to go, listen, I'm going to do what I can do. Hands on the wheel. You take it. I'm going to be here.
I think we come at this in a different way, but we come to the same conclusion, which is like it took me those 4 days to realize I didn't have to like you say, okay, I give it over to God and he'll do that part. And what I said was the same conclusion, which was like, there's so much of this that is not my job to fix. So let me just, once I could bring my focus down to the stuff I am damn good at.
Yes.
I'm fine. And it took me those 4 days to kind of go, okay, there is a lot. Maybe all my clients will say, we don't need something that's a consultant on the ticket right now. Maybe. And I played, I call it the worst case scenario game. This is always when I panic, it's rare. But when I do the worst case scenario game where I go, okay, what's the worst case scenario?
Absolutely. Right? I love that game.
Right? I love that game because you really do kind of go, okay, my worst case scenario is all the clients say everybody's got to tighten their belt at a time like this. Even I tighten my belt seriously at a time like this because we don't know, right?
Yeah.
So they all say no consultants. Boom. We have no top line revenue. Our runway's only so long, right? Yep. What are we going to do? But okay, let's just say we run out of runway. This is worst case scenario, not bad. Worst. Yeah. We run out of runway. Got to shut down Hill and Company. Can't pay the mortgage. Lose this house I lived in China for 10 years to buy, right? Yeah. And have to pull my kids out of their school. My husband's amazing, right? We get a tiny place to live. You know, I've worked at gas stations. You know, I've worked as the vice president of $500 million companies. I can do anything. You know what I mean? I'm a certified fitness trainer. I could try to do class. I would do something that was valuable in exchange for money, and I would have my life and my children.
Yep.
That's not so bad.
That's a good thing, right? I love that worst case scenario idea. And that's kind of what this was, Chat and Chow, right? Where I said, I want to do something. And worst case scenario, people don't watch it. Or let's go even worse. People don't like it. I don't, and they tell me, okay, cool. I get to talk to you today. So that's the worst thing that happens is I spent a half hour, 45 minutes with you today. That's not so bad, right? Yeah, we went over, but it's okay because I like the conversation. That's the other thing. I don't have any rules. It's a half hour, it's an hour, whatever. People say, sometimes people tune out after 30 minutes. Cool, let them turn it off. But some people want to see the rest of the story so they can stay on. What am I going to do? Make it 2 parts because one's a half hour, one's 15 minutes so that they'll watch them both? No, I don't. It's a conversation. It's flow. It's what it is. So, who cares? Look at the worst case scenario, play that game, and then look at the best case scenario, right? Best case scenario is the other side. So you found that worst case scenario is you go live in a smaller house with your husband and your kids and your dogs, and you're happy and you have more time with them. That's the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, everybody that you contact goes, yes, we need you now more than ever. Please help me. And your company grows and their company grows. And in a time where nobody thought it could, you hit new records. So either way, you win.
Yeah.
Where you lose is if you do nothing.
Yes.
If you give into the fear of saying, I can't bother these people right now because they don't want to talk to me. I'm just going to sit here and wait. And you do nothing.
Yeah.
Then you lose because you didn't follow your gut. You weren't true to you. You didn't take that risk, and you caved into your own insecurities and your fears, and you knew better.
Yeah.
That's where you lose.
Yeah. Amen. Totally agree.
All right. Well, I think that was a good, that was a good use of 45 minutes of my time.
It
I
was
don't
a
know
good
about you.
5 minutes of my time. We have a bank holiday here. I very nearly brought a glass of wine with me because it's 6:15 p.m. here in Old Blighty.
I'm glad that you decided not to, because I was also going to bring a beer only to keep you company, because, my rule is if you drink alone, that's when you're an alcoholic.
Oh, okay.
If you're drinking with somebody, it's just social.
Yeah.
So I didn't want you to be alone, and you didn't bring it. So that would have made me the alcoholic, and I don't want that. So
Well, thank you so much for asking me to do this. I think it was super fun. Like, there are so many like webinars and so many, and I'm so happy those people are doing those things. And, so like this was such a great invitation because I'm kind of sick of hearing my own voice once I get to the end of a week. So to have this conversation where I knew that we could just riff on the fact that like, it's all one thing, man. It's
Totally.
it's not business and you and your friend, you and your wife, you and your mom, you, like even my kids, like I'll say, today I can't be the best mom I can be, because I'm tired. So can I have that more hard, difficult conversation with you tomorrow? Like they getting it,
Yeah.
So I love this invitation. I love chatting Chow, and that, we didn't have to focus on business strategy today.
No. And listen, if you ever want to do this again, let me know, because I have no end in sight. The governor has us locked down through the end of May. I've got people that want to come on and do this through the end of May. I'm probably going to go May, June, into June. Why not? I mean, if people, even if 5 or 6, 7, 8, 10, 20, 30 people want to listen, and it brings a smile to their day and they get one nugget out of it, it's worth it for me, because
That's all good, right?
all it is me having conversations with my friends.
Look at, I'm going to look at for the next bank holiday, because if I finish a day, if I finish a day under 12 hours in the last 2 months, I've been like, I am not worthy. I'm actually going to have a bath. This is heaven. So I'm going to look at the next bank holiday, because that's how I was able to do this,
Nice.
And I would love to do it again.
I'm going to share a screen real quick. This is upcoming shows that we have. Look at those pants. Aren't those ridiculous? I tried those on because not that I was ever going to buy them, but I saw them and I thought, how do people wear these? How do they put their leg in those pants and not rip them more? And if you rip them more, does it make it worth more money? So, based on what this show is, I just wanted it to be, ridiculously informative and positive conversations to make you smile. That's what this is. So coming up, Hillary will be back Monday, and then Glenn Starkey from Progressive Components, Charles Daniels from Wepco Plastics. I fixed that for you, Charlie. It's not Wepco Tool. That's my bad. I screwed that up. Lori Cooper, who's a friend of mine from Ironman days. She's an exercise physiologist. Camille and Wally Sackett from Seed Mold and Tool, and then carbon 3D printing. That might interest you. I know they do a lot of stuff with jewelry and dental, and they've done some incredibly creative things. And I'm still waiting on my Adidas shoes from them, but I think that's a long time coming. And then Paul Britton from International Mold Steel will be with us on the 29th. And that's the whole month of May. I can't believe that anybody has cared and wanted to do this, but it's been fun. So typically what I do is say a quick prayer. Are you opposed to that?
Not at all.
All right. Is there anything that you want us to pray for today?
For really sensing the things that we have to be grateful for.
I like that. Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to talk with my friend. Thank you for the opportunity to have met her in Vegas, and the joy that she's brought me watching the stuff on social media, and the impact that she's making on the people that she's following, and the people that she doesn't even know that her posts get shared to. I just pray that you would help us all that are listening, that may hear this at some time, to really focus on the things that we have in our lives to be grateful for, because the things that we're tired of are the things that other people are praying for. So please be with us, watch over us, keep us safe, get rid of this stupid virus so that we can go back to being a community and with each other, and appreciating each other. And until then, we give you all the glory, all the praise, and we're grateful for everything that you give us. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Elle, thank you for giving me some time today. I really appreciated talking with you. And I look forward to your posts. So if you're not following Elle on LinkedIn, you should be, because every day is a burst of positivity and knowledge and some information. So get out there and follow her.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, Elle. Have a great day, everybody. And see you on Monday.